Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I never thought that I would actually be starting a reaction right from my actual mobile device, because I thought that my reactions to her social media boundary setting is actually over. But the more I really just think about it, the more I think that she is still going to set little flames. Her defiance to actually probably believe that she's in the wrong only sent her to the point that she actually apologized late, because let's just be real, she's not perfect. But at the same time, she doesn't open up to a broader side of the discussion. She probably is going to really regret some stuff. And I think she apologized, I just didn't cover them. But now I find myself actually looking at a video called How a VTuber Setting Boundaries Turned Into a Disaster. The Deme versus Chibi Reviews situation. Published by Mujin. Holy shit. He has been working on this fast. I thought my reaction to the drama that Deme and Nishiki, to her drama that she's actually made, would actually just stay contained within just a couple of videos. But from June 12th to present, holy crap, it has been developing quick. So this is a video that I'm actually making that would actually come out a day after my solo opinion piece gets me to react to Mujin's video on his perspective on this and what he's found. Now, I can't wait to see what it's all about, but I am glad that I'm actually going to react to this. So, without further ado, let's get right into it.
Now, this might come as a shock to you, but the idea of being railed live on a Twitch stream is not really a new concept. Because back in 2022, that's actually exactly what happened. A woman streamed herself with her boyfriend behind her, and it was just so blatant, so obvious, that it went absolutely viral. In fact, I can't even show you the full clip because it's that blatant. This video will get age restricted. But yes, this is actually real. And back in 2022, people were shocked, not just because of the act itself, but because it was done on a website where the youngest allowed age to make an account was 13 years old.
And I've been seeing the videos that are coming out on YouTube that there's a possibility that Deme herself is being railed on stream. It's insanely disgusting. Like, what is going on? Why is Mujin actually even mentioning this? Oh boy, it sounds like Deme is in a bigger mess than I thought.
So obviously, a ban was expected. But the thing is, people were shocked yet again, even more so than the first time, because they realized Twitch banned her only for 7 days, effectively giving her a 1-week vacation for getting her cheeks clapped live on stream. But here's the deal. This was someone who didn't really have a large following. In fact, she barely had any following at all. So here's the question of the day. What if this happened to someone with a large following? In fact, let's make it even more interesting. What if this happened to a VTuber? What's fascinating about this question is that they could technically do this and get away with it without suffering any consequences, because how would you prove it? You're simply only shown their model. Well, the good news is that for anyone asking themselves these very important questions, we now finally have an answer. This is because the VTuber Deme found herself at the heart of a scenario that looks just like that. And it was a disaster. What started out as a simple post outlining her fan art preferences to her community would somehow escalate into a nasty feud with another content creator, which would somehow lead people to find a VOD from August 10th, 2025, in which Deme streamed herself playing the game Outer Wilds.
Oh, hell no. Don't tell me that this is actually happening on stream. I don't know how else to react to this, other than I am getting nervous.
This was it. This was the VOD in which people were convinced that Deme was getting railed live on stream, but not just for a few minutes. Some would be convinced that this lasted for over an hour of just constant railing as she was trying her best to hide it by acting normal on stream. I mean, look at this novel here, which is meant to show you all the different timestamps she did something suspicious. This person would even go as far as labeling this whole debacle as Arc 1, Arc 2, Arc 3, Arc 4, Arc 5. And believe it or not, this is me barely scraping the surface here, because then the narrative would shift into the fact that she was getting railed, yes, but by another guy as her boyfriend was sitting in the opposite room. Guys, this would go so incredibly viral that yes, not only would it trend on Twitter, but according to the website, there would be over 250,000 posts made about this topic in just 2 days.
Are you fucking kidding me? This goes just fucking beyond just fan art, and holy shit, this is absolutely disastrous. Holy shit, this is absolutely disastrous. Damn. Oh, damn. I thought it was simply about launching a personal attack against someone who's trying to win an argument over Twitter, but holy shit, this goes fucking deep, and this is gonna bring consequences to her. Oh shit. If what I think is going to happen next is that there's going to be a big, absolutely horrible cover-up of this is never gonna look good for her. This is never going to look good for her.
Tens of millions of people would see these posts, and it would spread all around the globe as far as China. I mean, you can even find people talking about this on Facebook. Hell, this was so significant that there's even a dedicated Know Your Meme page about it now. This has piqued the interest of millions of people, and yet many have a hard time understanding it due to its needlessly complex nature. There are so many layers here, and so I figured I would make a video about it, explaining everything as objectively as humanly possible so that you can come up with your own opinion about it after understanding it, so that we can proceed to finally move on, because I'm tired of seeing this on my feed.
This goes absolutely far beyond what I actually expected to. I don't think I'll be continuing doing the reaction over here on mobile. Holy shit. This is something that I will just leave onto this part as a mobile part. I will be reacting to this on PC. Holy shit. It's a good thing. It was a good thing I caught this. I'm not gonna fucking miss this. So yeah, this part's gonna be the first part of it, so yep.
I cannot for the life of me actually believe that I'm actually doing this. And I'm actually going to continue watching this freaking video because I thought that it would just end there. So this goes beyond what she was trying to prohibit, but she got caught with, oh no. And I thought she's gonna really, oh boy. Yeah, I don't know if this is doing you good. I don't know if this is gonna do you good, but yikes.
I have a hard time understanding it due to its needlessly complex nature. There are so many layers here, and so I figured I would make a video about it, explaining everything as objectively as humanly possible so that you can come up with your own opinion about it after understanding it. So
yeah,
that
sure, objectively.
Move on, because I'm tired of seeing this on my feed. And so, without further ado, you already know the drill by now. Let's do this. All right, so first things first, who the hell is Deme? Well, I think it's obvious by now, she is a VTuber, but not just any VTuber. Over the last few years, she has become one of the top English-speaking independent VTubers on the planet. Whenever she goes live,
she's Pinoy, by the way.
Viewers with
she is Pinoy.
Around 4,000 to 5,000. The reason why this is significant is because recently, Twitch started incorporating a new way to combat viewbots, implementing an aggressive viewer cap on people it thinks are viewbotting. As an example, Emiru recently had her view count reduced down to 10,000. Streams, she usually always peaked around 20,000, and there she was capped at 10,000. This was Twitch saying
viewbotting?
Half her
really? I think most Twitch streamers who are insincere really are viewbotting. So
on Deme's channel,
it's not really a surprise that Dan Clancy would actually make that policy in the first place. So yeah.
How did she manage to achieve this? Well, for people who are fans of her, it's fairly straightforward. They love her personality and her over-the-top reactions to many different things, whether she's reacting to a video or to a video game. At the same time, her model is very unique and very expressive too. It's easily recognizable, and there are people who watch her purely because they like the way she looks. But just like any big content creator these days, you can't have a fan base without having haters, and Deme definitely has haters.
Yep,
their main
she does.
Are that she is a mean girl and that she can be irresponsible with her big platform. As an example, back in February 2026, she would tweet out, "Why is no one talking about the blatant viewbotting in the VTubing sphere?" and then would proceed to call out someone specifically about this, the VTuber Olivia Monroe, even going as far as contacting her talent agency at the time, Mystic Talent, to complain about this. Now, this was definitely controversial when it happened.
Oh, yeah.
The problem with viewbotting, the reason why it's become such a big problem, is because unless the streamer themselves says, "Yes, I'm viewbotting," there's no
really other way to prove it. Yeah, that's true.
Like Deme or just disagree with her, this was as if a judge gave someone a death sentence without even bothering to conduct a DNA test.
I'm gonna just be real with you. Viewbotting is actually so blatant at the moment that the biggest streamers actually do it without telling everyone else. The reason why is because they need to actually maintain their viewing presence. The problem is with viewbotting, it makes a whole lot of difference if you are actually simulating that you have a higher viewership than usual. You have way less chat interactions. So that to me is dishonest and insincere all considering. But at the same time, okay, let me just be very clear. Sometimes Twitch gets lurkers labeled as viewbots, and it isn't really good for Twitch's actual reputation, okay? So that policy, rather questionable. I like it that they're actually combating viewbotting, but there's no stopping to how viewbotting actually works because the biggest streamers always pay for it. This is always a payable service, viewbotting, every freaking time. And most live stream audiences can actually see it. It can actually be detectable. When I'm actually checking these different cases, like the ones on GTV before they got shut down, there's also streamer Neon on Kick. And then there's also streamer Queen Gloria RP on Twitch. As she, accidentally leaking a viewbotting program. So unfortunately, the biggest streamers, or the streamers who are just making use of their abilities to actually manipulate the live count, are making use of these things just to actually tell others that they got a big viewership. But it does not reflect with chat interactions. it should always reflect with the number of chat interactions or messages that are actually coming out on their stream chat. So we can easily see it. And thank God, though there are tools that can say if a streamer is view botting without telling anyone else that they are. So yeah, we finally got smarter. Thank God.
Now, we still don't know whether Olivia actually did ViewBot because she hasn't streamed since the 26th of April, 2026. And because of that, Twitch was not able to implement any view caps on her stream, right? She has to stream again for that to happen. And one example of her using her platform irresponsibly from people who disagree with her is when she would express how she hates when people say that streaming is hard, that she's very privileged and very happy to be in this position. A way smaller streamer would have a disagreement with her on this topic, and it would lead into drama, with Deme personally calling them out on her stream, even though she has a way bigger following than them. So look, just like any content creator, she has supporters, she has people who dislike her, and she's been in her fair share of drama. But I assure you, there's nothing that she's ever been through in terms of drama that can even compare to the radioactive shit show that you're about to witness. So how did it begin? Well, it would all start on June 12th, 2026, when Deme would tweet out, "Hey, just a reminder, I'm extremely uncomfortable with NSFW art of me. But why did you make your VTuber look like that? Just because I like sexy or hot things doesn't mean I want to see porn of it. It's just a VTuber."
She is really mean.
When you see it. She would then clarify this point further in the replies, saying, "I just feel like there's so many other content creators who'd love to have artists draw them in that way, and it's wasted effort towards me too. But I'd like to make this clear. I'm completely okay with sexy stuff because I like sexy hot women. I just don't like porn." She would then reply to a couple of people who were confronting her about this point, saying, "What does this have to do with me? I don't go out of my way to stop people from doing what they want whatsoever. I just like saying my personal boundaries, tourist." So this was straightforward. This was directed to the community.
Fine.
Hey, listen, I personally don't like seeing my character in these specific situations, but I don't mind sexy art. And so around 6 hours later, the content creator Chibi Reviews would see her post and would decide to quote tweet it, saying, "So you're uncomfortable with NSFW art of yourself, but repost NSFW art of yourself."
Yeah, that's
virtue signaling has stun locked me. A minute later,
that's actually virtue signaling right there.
Sentence and would just say, "That level of virtue signaling has stun locked me. Look at the repost." And so the repost in question would be Deme reposting art of her character in which she's showing a lot of skin, right? You have big stars that are covering her breasts, but at the end of the day, her character was wearing somewhat of a skimpy bikini, right?
Yeah.
Normally, something
there
like
it is.
wouldn't really be very significant. People disagree with each other on Twitter all the time. They call out each other all the time. It's just the nature of the website and its algorithm. The reason why this was significant, though, wasn't necessarily because of the post itself, but it was because of the person who was posting it, Chibi Reviews. And for you to really understand the situation that's currently unfolding, you have to understand who this guy is. Chibi Reviews would make his YouTube channel around 12 years ago, and he would do exactly what his name entails. He would review anime. But even back then, he would get himself into some pretty rough drama, just reviewing. Disagree with his takes. Some people would find him cringy.
Yeah, he has his own problems.
A number of people to find out that Chibi's older brother actually died from suicide. This would.
What the hell? Chibi Reviews is still active at this time. I did not know about this part of his life. Yo, give him points for still being present, even in social media. Probably he has his displeasures when it comes to social media, but god damn it, he has gone through shit. Oh my god. Yeah, the ones who actually commented about his. Oh my god. Yo, this is just, man. They have no right to diss this guy over the brother. Just, he's probably have it hard because he lost family that time too. But damn, I'm glad he just I'm glad he still has a presence in 2026. This happened in 2018. Shit, dude. I respect that Chibi Reviews is active even after this.
Prompt another YouTuber by the name of That Anime Snob to make a video criticizing Chibi, making fun of his dead brother. This was back in 2018, and back then, the wider anime community was absolutely shocked that someone would say something like this. At the time, Chibi Reviews would get full support from other content creators that were his friends, like the anime YouTuber Mother's Basement, giving his full support, and also Joey Bizinger, otherwise known as the Anime Man, saying, "How dare you..."
Joey! Nice of him to actually support him, Chibi doing this time.
But it would be nothing compared to what he would have to experience in the following years. You see, around the early 2020s, Chibi would start shifting his content more from just anime to anti-censorship and anti-tourist rhetoric. In other words, government should stay away from what I post on the internet, and people who don't understand anime should stay away from anime. So what defines to Chibi was simple. If you were someone who found LOLI to be repulsive, I can't say that word on YouTube, but in a nutshell, it's underage characters.
Wait, let me see this. Would appreciate any support if you all leave a like on this post and on the video as well. Too many people are actively help criminals by making false calls to police about drawings and care more about that when helping real victims. Oh, damn. Wait, why did Schlepp reply to this as this video is a self-report? What is going on?
LOLI to be repulsive. I can't say that word on YouTube, but in a nutshell, it's underage characters found in anime. Then you were a tourist and you deserve to be called out for it. Also, if you found siblings doing the deed, so incest, to be repulsive or disgusting.
Wait, what's the core one? Age gap rom-com about a nerdy high school boy who lives alone together with his big... Yo. Oh, shit. You know what? Some manga can actually have insane shit that we would all just clutch our hair so hard, finding it hard to actually believe that this type of shit exists. Yes, we are foreign to the fact that we still shit this type of media like this.
Then you were also very clearly a tourist, and you deserve to be called out for it. You don't belong in the anime community. He would make these points constantly. And while yes, he would grow a fan base, he would also grow a significant amount of people who hated his guts. And on October 3rd, 2024, his life would change forever due to those haters that hated his guts. He would post a clip from the anime Dandadan saying the animators didn't need to go so hard for the scene. And in this clip, we can see the two main characters in high school
What the hell?
taken advantage of.
What the hell?
A bunch of aliens. And it would go mega viral. I mean, 21 million views.
What the hell?
If you're a normie with a freshly installed Twitter app. And barely 2 days later, he would find out that, well, due to this post, he would get doxxed. Someone...
Bro, just they hate this? Just because they hate Chibi Reviews? Bro, he has had it hard, even especially after what's happened to him. Oh my God.
post actual images of the house that he lived in, as well as his brother's grave. And by the way, these aren't the only things that are available when it comes to Chibi's private information on the internet. There are literal wikis out there that contain every single address he has ever lived in his life, as well as his job history and the place he worked at. On October 6, 2024, a day later, he'd find out that the people who actually doxed him were Boruto fans. He'd make a video showing things that were being said to him. Like, if I ever saw you in real life, I would stomp the brainstem out of your head and spit on your shaking corpse, and would tell everyone that he bought a gun, so they're more welcome to come to his house to find out. He would also
Okay, respect. He actually has to defend himself with. Holy shit, dude.
That he was going to sue the people who doxed him. After raising $17,000, the fundraiser would, well, get taken down. When people brought it up, he would block them, and eventually he would explain to his community that he had to use these funds for urgent bills and emergencies, and for the most part, if we're going to look at it objectively, his community, the same people who donated, were fairly okay with it. But if you thought that's where things ended, you'd be mistaken. Because on April 2026, yes, this is very recent, someone would post an image of themselves holding a shovel standing right behind Chibi Reviews' brother's grave. They would quote tweet something that Chibi was, and say, in quotes, "It's just a drawing," referencing how Chibi doesn't mind LOLI, right? Drawings of underage children, and then would continue with, "Compelling argument, I'm digging up your brother and turning him into a chair." Now, it would turn out later that this image was AI generated, but initially, of course, it caused a lot of uproar, and it also caused a lot of celebration, right? It's important to point this out. For example, this Reddit post with 14,000 upvotes was literally referencing what had happened.
Dude, he's not having the best time when it comes to his past. Shit, dude. All because he had been reviewing anime and giving his own stances that people just do not like. Hey, Chibi Reviews does not deserve this. He does not deserve this. What his haters are it's just sad. It's just sad.
In regards to that image, this really would go out of control, right? On April 20th, someone would post, "Found Chibi's brother's grave, LMFAO," and they would literally link his grave. And that whole thing about turning his brother into a chair, well, someone would post an image of a wooden chair in the form.
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
I mean, this is going to be blurred, obviously, but
bro,
see the real name of Chibi's brother, his date of birth, where he was born, the date of his death, and the exact place.
Reviews. Oh my God, he does not deserve this.
He would find out that there was someone on Kiwi Farms, I don't know whether it was jokingly or seriously at this point, to be honest, trying to convince a teenager to go to Chibi's house and assassinate him for $200. This would prompt Chibi to call law enforcement. Now, I can totally understand that if this is your first time hearing about this guy, you're probably absolutely shocked, like your jaw's probably on the floor. Don't worry, that's a totally reasonable reaction. In any case, this leads me to the main point I want to make in telling you all this. When it comes to how people feel about Chibi, I'd say they can be divided into 3 different categories. Category 1 is people who are loyal to him and are his biggest fans. They believe he's 100% right, and that every bad thing that happened to him over the years was unwarranted, undeserved. Category 2, I'd say, is probably the majority of people, and it's people who maybe are neutral towards him or maybe completely disagree with him. But even so, Category 2 believes that this shit simply went way too far.
That's
it doesn't matter
me.
what you dislike.
That is me. I am not a loyal fan. This is shit. This is shitty behavior from his haters. Absolutely, this is where I belong. He does not deserve this.
To dig up their dead brother is insane, and it's crossing the line. And so this, of course, leads us to the last category, category 3. These people believe that she is a full-fledged pedophile, like literally on the same rank as Epstein.
Bro,
he not only deserves every single thing that has happened to him over the years, but he actually deserves way worse. Now, what's really interesting about category 1 is that even though they're not millions of people, they still hold influence because many of them are very vocal. And I'm going to show you an example. Around a month ago, Internet Anarchist, a YouTube channel with almost 2 million subscribers, would make a 30-minute video about Chibi Reviews.
Okay.
And would tweet multiple times about how much he dislikes this video, how he thinks it's slander, and how it's defamation. Him simply tweeting this would send his loyal supporters to come and brigade the video.
Damn.
It's currently sitting at 4,000 likes and almost 7,000 dislikes, with thousands of comments, many of the top ones completely disagreeing with the video itself. In their opinion, Internet Anarchist was justifying the bad things that happened to Chibi simply because he likes fictional drawings of underage children, and that the biggest mistake he did was simply shitposting, trash talking online. So the point of this yapathon was to show you that Chibi calling out Deme like this wasn't insignificant. Once he signaled that he disliked something, once he signaled that someone was being a tourist or a hypocrite in this case, Category 1 viewers will go to that post and brigade it. That's exactly what happened here. Deme would notice this, right? She made this post specifically for her community and would see these people come brigade her post. And so instead of ignoring it, she would choose to reply. She'd say, wait, oh my God, aren't you the guy whose fiance literally cheated on you and your whole friend group sided with her? LMFAO.
Yo, you're not even okay, that's just direct. This is the tweet? Aren't you the guy? Oh my God. Yo, oh my God. Bro, okay. You don't understand if someone is having a hard time and you know something about them and they get flack for some of their shit. And you decide that you actually decide when it comes to your dislike of fan art, considering you're showing hypocrisy that you're reposting your own fan art of your lewd art, basically. You tell him the most gut-wrenching reply that is personal. This is straight up disastrous and so fucking stupid. This is what I was saying. Always think before you fucking post something, especially in fucking public. Maybe the thing that you could have done is at least look at the replies that were actually being made on the repost, right? But what did you do? You put up a personal attack on someone. Unfucking called for. Yo! Oh boy, Deme. Oh my God. I cannot believe I'm saying this. But I'm actually right to actually call it, and unfortunately, this wave of backlash that you received, unfortunately, is unfortunately deserved. And I don't like saying it is deserved either, okay? There could have been different replies you could have made, and this is the reply you gave. Aren't you the guy whose fiance literally cheated on you and your whole friend group sided with her? That is a personal hit that is absolutely uncalled for and should not have been said. This is the type of bullshit reply you're just going to give. Not only is it a bullshit reply, it is offensive.
So, yeah, you're probably thinking, Mujin, you just told me about how this guy went through the 7 layers of hell, but you're telling me he also got cheated on? Yes. And this will be the last bit of context you need to understand what the hell Deme's talking about. 2 months before someone posted that AI-generated image of them digging up Chibi's brother, on February 12th, 2026, Chibi would tweet out, just lost my fiance, my best friend, and my entire friend group in 24 hours. I have never been more alone than right now.
He's really devastated because a lot of shit happened to him. It happened to his brother. It happened to, well, just his fiance, his best friend, and now an entire friend group. Dude, he's had it hard. This is never something easy to actually manage here.
Now, this would also go extremely viral at almost 20 million views, 6,000 replies. Many people had things to say, whether it was to show him support or gloat. But it was mostly gloating, as you can see from some of the top replies.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
A video further explaining what happened. In it, he'd reveal that his fiance of like 10 years cheated on him with his best friend, someone that he's known for a very long time, I believe since childhood. Now, this is already horrible, right? But somehow it got worse because the friend group that he shared with his fiance, upon hearing this, upon finding out that she cheated on him, would still somehow side with her, okay? Completely ditching Chibi and continuing to hang out with her and his ex-best friend, even though he had just gone through probably
what the fuck was their mindset?
According to him, this would lead him to drive out into the wilderness with a bunch of drinks and hope to leave this planet.
Really just asking, what the heck is their mindset for actually doing that to him?
And have him be picked up and sent to a hospital. And that's why he survived. Now look, obviously this doesn't happen every day. Someone cheating on you with your best friend, that sounds like something you'd find in a movie, like a nightmare scenario. But the fact that the friend group also sided with the fiance, that was crazy. And what really didn't help here is that whenever someone online would say that Chibi is a virgin or that no woman loves him as an insult, Chibi would constantly flex the fact that he had a girlfriend or a fiance, right? So him revealing this information to the world essentially meant that people were never going to let this go. However, at the end of the day, this wasn't just probably one of the most significant things that happened to him in his life, but it's also one of the most significant things that happened to him in his content creation career. After some time recovering, he would tweet this out saying, seeing how happy it would make my haters if I died, I live out of spite. Also seeing what I've seen today, I'm going to double down too out of spite. Before I go any further, to those that reached out, I promise to respond and go through it all later. I noticed a lot of pattern recognition from certain groups too today. Always the party of acceptance people, multiple flags are a big indication too. Certain usage of gifts as well, animals pretending to be human with subpar intelligence. I'm also pro-ICE and I think illegal immigrants should not be in my country.
There are going to be some very, very controversial, I will be saying from Chibi Reviews, now that I am seeing it. Look, not everyone should actually like immigration enforcement, okay? But everyone's got their own opinions when it comes to immigrants, all right? I've said it when it comes to those who are contributing better to a better economy. They should not even be removed from the homes that they've already made. If they've already processed their documents, but they haven't actually processed it properly. There is a way to always process it properly, and hopefully those that actually were able to complete it or were at least able to avoid getting booted out by ICE. But goddamn, some people still hold strong statements against immigrants. Honestly, I still want to be a tourist, but I'm definitely not thinking of being a tourist at this time while Donald Trump is still president. No way. No freaking way. Oh, man.
Significant because it pretty much showed us two things. The first thing was that he was fully transitioning into political content creation. This was not...
Also, this is absolutely a darker path for him to actually go through. He'd gone through a lot of shit, and now he's just going to go all in, lock in, and go political.
Which is not his fault. Unfortunately, his own haters actually pushed him into this.
Unfortunately, people will start hating this guy more now that he's going to go into political shit. God damn. People are just going to hate him more, and it's not going to be his fault. It's going to be theirs. Those who actually pushed him into this, congratulations. You made a Darth Vader.
Simply about anime or tourists or free speech and anti-censorship. This was now also about political content. And the second thing here was that he was going to continue doing what he's always done, rage baiting and posting about his controversial opinions while calling out people he disagreed with very openly. But now this would be amplified. He would do it more and on a different level. Here's an example. As far as I'm aware, based on his online history, I don't think he would have quote tweeted a post like this a year or two ago. No, this is recent. And from then on, he would also make it a point to talk about how many impressions he's getting on the website and how much money he's making. In this post, he would flex that he was making almost $2,000 while thanking his haters for paying for his bills. All right, I promise. Now you know all the context you need to know about Chibi.
Okay. Also, thank you, haters, for paying my electric, water, internet, and phone bills with this check. But continue. Honestly, nobody should defend anyone who actually has a thirst for content. For definitely avoid these type of people. I can actually agree with some things about what Chibi says, but not everything. Everything into politics. Definitely, I need to think twice before responding. All I can just say is no comment. Okay. He's got his own hustle, but this is something I need to really just make sure that you guys understand. Politics can lead to a discussion, but politics can also turn into something very toxic. So as much as possible on my end, instead of just going right into a political discussion straight, if I don't know the entire issue, I would just have to choose no comment because I don't know everything about the entire issue. Maybe if I have an understanding of what the issue is, maybe I could actually respond, but not at the very moment where I am actually spooked. But him actually starting to actually go on political commentary is something he needs to be very, very careful of. His haters might actually turn into rivals or straight up enemies who have unsafe thoughts. So he has to be very careful if he's going to go full political commentary with a passion.
He's doing this for himself,
and he's done it because he's pushed. And unfortunately, no one is to be blamed except actually hate him. This is going to amplify his shit more.
He's got hustle, and I'll give him that. But whatever damage he makes when it comes to the anime industry and everything else, it's not his fault anymore. But why he would damage, and if he's actually glad in damaging everything around him, that's his choice, and it will start turning away potential viewership. Okay? People appreciate him for what he is. People hate him for what he is. Let's respect that. And let's not turn this all like into a pissing match with him every second. Okay? What I can say is don't turn things into a pissing match every time with this guy, every second. Because even if you want to see him lose, you're going to push him to do something worse than you would.
Video. When it came to Deme's reply, though, one can interpret it in multiple ways. The first one could be, oh, she noticed she's being brigaded. She sees the source who's causing this. And the only thing she genuinely knows about Chibi is the fact that he's that guy that got cheated on, seeing how viral that tweet went. The second interpretation is that she saw where this was coming from. She found it to be Chibi, and she decided to be a mean girl. Hell, you might even think it's both interpretations. Up to you. Point is, she thought this was an easy slam dunk, and she did end up ratioing him. And to people who actually use this website, this means that it's somewhat of a victory. To her reply and say, so you avoid answering why you retweet NSFW every avatar despite being upset about it in your post, then you cheer on cheating. Interesting. This would prompt Deme to say, My bad for not wanting to see my model getting pounded. If people want to keep drawing it, then it's their choice, but I'm just not going to support it. Does that make sense to you now? And she would include a screenshot of exactly what she said in the reply to her post, saying, I'm completely okay with sexy stuff because I love sexy hot women. I just don't like porn. To which Chibi would say, so you could have answered first like this, but used personal attacks and cheered cheating. Not a good look.
Yeah, unfortunately for Deme, it's never a good look for answering the personal attack on the first reply. Okay, it's already bad enough that she got called out for her hypocrisy, but using a personal attack on her first reply is uncalled for. It's a horrible way to reply.
Now look, as a normal employed person watching this video, you might think to yourself, okay, well, I guess this is where things end. It's a public spat. These two had mean things to say about each other. I'm sure people will move on. Well, no. Things would get so bad in the coming 2 days that people would forget what started this to begin with. This was nothing more than the spark that lit up Chernobyl. Just so we're clear here, this spat between Deme and Chibi would occur on June 13th. It really would take less than 24 hours for this to become very significant.
Oh,
people
my
even drawing
God.
But even before this,
even God.
This would escalate to another level when the YouTuber Parrot 4chan would quote tweet
even Parrot joined in on this.
Cheated on and say,
oh my God.
His fiance cheats on him with his friend. Friends know and won't tell him. Point and laugh at him for it. LMFAO. Your own ex abused you in 2024. Gathering sympathy for your own abuse, but then turning around and making fun of someone else's abuse. You are a hypocrite, Deme. There will be an image attached here of a post Deme made talking about this abusive relationship a while back, in which
someone now this getting because she exposed Chibi Reviews. Someone else is now exposing. Unfortunately, Deme, I'm sorry, but this is absolute karma. Unfortunately, this is absolute karma. You really you did the back and forth, and someone punched you with a reply, and this is not going to help you sleep.
People who were disagreeing with Deme or having a problem with her didn't really know her that well, didn't really understand her history. This would start a new narrative. She wasn't just a hypocrite because of her NSFW takes. Don't forget about that. She is now a hypocrite when it comes to relationships, making fun of someone at their lowest point when she had been in one too. What some others also pointed out was that ex of hers had actually stabbed her, and Deme claimed that this was because she was trying to save him from a suicide attempt. A while ago, she had even made a post saying that she does not regret doing that, and that if you make fun of it, you're an absolute waste of air. So now she wasn't just a hypocrite when it came to relationships, she was a hypocrite when it came to mental health, more specifically suicide, because Chibi was about to leave this planet due to what happened to her ex. Another narrative popped up, with people digging up old tweets of hers where she was saying Happy Men's Day to my fellow men. To the people criticizing her, this meant that she never cared about men's mental health because she's so easily making fun of Chibi and what he went through. And still, on the same day, a third narrative would pop up. This user would post a 2-minute clip from a VOD from 10 months ago in which Deme was playing the game Outer Wilds. They would say, big talk from someone who got railed on stream, afraid of NSFW, my ass, tagging both.
This is going to increase.
Very significant because this
shit,
million views. And
no NSFW. I'm sorry. What is this then?
Narratives were created.
God damn.
Deme at the same time. This is when she would proceed to make a post on Twitter saying, I was too busy in Japan to see what happened on Twitter. What I meant by NSFW, since a lot of people are confused, I'm okay with lewd, never have not been okay with it. I just don't like seeing people lol. To me, being a bitch, that's nothing new, and I've never been nice to people I don't care about / respect. Y'all are so bored that someone that just doesn't like porn made, you personally get riled up. I just genuinely can't really care. If you don't want to respect it or even try to see what I meant, I see no reason to be even respectful remotely to some losers. I'd be lying if I said I was sorry. She would then continue and say, was it right to do what I did? No, but I never pretended to be a role model whatsoever and openly hate other people, so who's surprised on that? To the people bringing up what happened with my relationship in the past as a blow, we practically moved on from it too. If you actually watch my streams, he's on it all the time. And we're happy as taking a break from streaming in Japan. I've never hid that whatsoever. To the people who think I'm not a good VTuber, never did the norm, and I don't plan to cry about it pussy. She would then reply to 2 different replies, one supporting her and one shitting on her, and the latter said, so you're a massive bitch who mocks people for traumatic events that made them suicidal? Got it. Good to know. If you actually didn't bother to do any introspection, you're a sad person and speaks to your true nature. To which Deme would say, yeah, honestly, if we're talking about Chibi here, I don't sincerely care. I was genuinely surprised he was the guy. The person supporting her would say, I feel like that should have been obvious to them. If we say NSFW, a lot of the times it is about people getting fucked or nudity. To which Deme would say, yeah, but they just want to farm Twitter engagement because they're poor as fuck and have nothing else to earn on. The OG post was obvious as fuck. So this post clarified her position on everything going on. Confirmed that unlike what some people were saying, that she had left her abusive ex, no, she was actually still with that same person and they had solved things, but they're now happy together and having a good time in Japan. On the next day, June 14th, she would reply to this post again and say, to add to this, I talked to my community about what people are saying. I was confused with some people calling me a hypocrite. I do advocate mental health for women and men. I, however, do not care about Chibi. I made the mistake of saying the first thing that came out of my head when seeing his username, but I should have been the better person and said nothing. I've learned to hold my tongue in most things, but I legit got surprised seeing the username and the association with it. I think I'm backpedaling. No, I'm sorry for slipping up and not thinking before talking, but I'm not sorry for what I said, to be honest, especially that it was towards him. He's a piece of shit and everything about him is disgusting to me. Not because he got cheated on, but because he's a weirdo in general. For the original post, I didn't make the post for people to delete art of me. I did it just as a reminder of my stance, which hasn't changed. It annoyed me that people have the time to scroll on my page, but not take the time to literally read the OG post and the reply not an hour after specifying what I exactly meant. So yeah, it annoyed me when all the blue badges came crawling in. My bad to my community for getting into drama again. I know I'm not losing anything valuable when it's this type of crowd. Pancakes and waffles. Also, I'm not stupid. I know me saying my stance on the thing isn't going to stop people from doing it. The post was for people who cared about my stance. So she would clarify here, hey, I probably shouldn't have said anything to Chibi and just ignored him. I do advocate for mental health for women and men, but I just don't care about Chibi. She would also specify, yes, she acknowledges the Streisand effect, right? When you don't want people to know something, then people start talking about it more in regards to nudity, but she doesn't care about that. She was just making a post talking directly to her community. That's it. After this post would get made, Chibi would tweet this out, saying, instead of apologizing and making peace, she doubles down in latest post and blocks me. I think this says a lot about them. And he would show a screenshot of Deme blocking him. He would then find out about her new reply that she made, where she talked to her community, and he would also comment on it, saying, says sorry, not sorry. I just hate Chibi because he's a weirdo and will cheer on cheating.
Okay.
Locks replies, treats me worse than the boyfriend that stabbed her in the leg that she's still with. Someone knows they are getting pushback. So look, by now, I'm sure you can understand how things have already started to spiral.
It's starting to spiral out of control here.
Who you agree with, depending on how hard you look, you could find two very differing opinions at this point. The first group was focusing their hate on Deme, and the second group was focusing their hate on Chibi. This would, however, escalate to another level when Chibi would post again. This time, a video with him saying, addressing the VTuber drama, how she went mask off, and how I was personally attacked. Linking a video, and the thumbnail is Deme with text on her saying, she attacked me. In it, he would talk more about the things I already mentioned in this video. He'd call her a hypocrite. He'd say that she doesn't care about men's mental health because she attacked him and doesn't care that etc., etc. Now, just like on Deme's post, most of the replies were negative. The same thing can be said here on Chibi posting the video. So as I said, two very differing opinions, and you could find those opinions on the posts of these two, right? So look, this video would get a lot of attention from both sides. And the new narrative, other than the three others that we already spoke about, was that Deme was attacking Chibi. She was the aggressor and he was the victim. Seeing all this, Deme would make another post saying, addressing the drama live right now, linking a Twitch channel that does 24-hour reruns of past Deme streams, baiting people to click on it. This post would go as far as being community noted, with a note saying, the linked Twitch stream is a 24/7 rerun channel replaying VODs, not a live broadcast. But while some would call this a top-tier troll, there was a looming shadow that was making its way towards Deme. The clip of her allegedly getting railed on stream was blowing up. It was going mega viral. So much so that a user would make fan art of Deme getting piped while also making fun of the incident where she was stabbed, right? Saying, please don't let him find out, otherwise he'll stab.
Oh my God.
Effectively making it seem like she...
I'm just imagining it. Oh shit, dude. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my God, this is going way out of control.
Was fucking her boyfriend. Now, Deme would, for some reason, quote tweet this fan art. She would not, however, address this whole getting railed on stream thing. So I don't know why she decided to quote tweet this post in particular, but here's what she had to say. Chibi fans want to preach about men's mental health while making fun of a man's suicide attempt. I got slashed accidentally when I pulled the scissors away from him, trying to save his life from a horrible decision. Their obsession with the cup fantasy also checks out. I had no idea that Chibi Reviews tried to take his own life, and I don't wish that upon anyone. As I said before, I don't care about the guy in general. I'm not going to apologize to a guy who dated a teen when he's pushing 30, scammed his fans out of thousands of dollars of a lawsuit that never happened. Never in my life have I heard of people siding with a cheating future wife in any scenario, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not surprised the guy doesn't understand boundaries/consent. If you want to hate me through how I speak and carry myself, fair game. However, if you're going to always complain about harassment on Twitter and cause harassment on me getting physically harmed, it makes zero sense. Anyway, I'm gonna continue my Japan trip. Peace emoji. Now, she would reply to this very shortly after and say, I had to update the tweet since I didn't want to spread misinformation, my bad on that. And what she was referencing was the fact that in the first version of this, she would link an image in which Chibi Reviews says, went to Walmart today and saw some cute LOLIs, which honestly made my day, lol. So this is a fake tweet, right? Chibi never tweeted this. Many use it to hate on him because if it were to be true, this would be him admitting that he pretty much likes children, right? IRL children.
Shit.
Calls them LOLI, even though they're meant to be characters, right? So, just straight up admitting he's a pedophile. This image has spread so much throughout the internet that there's a lot of people who believe it's real. In fact, even Internet Anarchist, when he made his video about Chibi, had initially included the tweet, which later forced
it's all going out of control. This has been edited. Oh my God.
And edit the tweet because I'm pretty sure you can't edit after an hour had passed. But to some, the damage was already done. It didn't matter. You clearly knew what you were doing, trying to slander his name, and no amount of trying to fix it will solve this. Now, this tweet, of course, would attract many people who hate her. It would receive a lot of backlash. It simply didn't do anything to calm down Chibi fans who were pissed at her. At the same time, I'd be lying to you if I said that Chibi wasn't also receiving hate himself. As I said, opinions were really divided into two categories with no nuance. You either hated Deme or you hated Chibi. There was no in between. But here's the thing.
Oh boy.
All of a sudden, you had a third group of people join in on this drama. People who didn't really care who Chibi or Deme even were. They were just shocked to see a VTuber allegedly getting railed live on stream. This is yet another post.
It is a mess.
Getting over 7 million views. Here's another post saying this clip makes it far more obvious what the LMAO, getting 5 million views. Someone would say, man, she's weird for doing this, but why do people care about this? The person who posted it would say, who knows? I just thought it was funny, LMAO. So see, this was a third group of people coming in, not really caring about the drama. In fact, they didn't even know how this drama began, just acting shocked over this. This is yet another post saying, yo, Deme, I think you might want to tell the VOD. Getting railed midstream is kind of
Yeah.
This would again get
That's
over
true.
6 million views. And I mean, in general, for June 14th and 15th, this had taken over the entire website. Now, yes, of course, I'm going to show you clips so that you can make up your own mind, but I just want you to understand. This had gotten so viral that when you go to YouTube, you can try this right now. Pause the video and do it yourself. If you just as much type Deme, you will see one of the first results being Deme plays Outer Wilds #2.
Oh my God. It's a top result? That actual VOD? Oh. Okay, let me try this right now. Oh my God, it's #1. What the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? Yeah, Demi's moving up, but oh my God, this is not good for her. That's her image right there, guys.
Deme Outer Wilds 2, Demonishki Outer Wilds, Deme Outwards 2 VOD. This didn't just take over the algorithm of Twitter, this took over the YouTube algorithm too. Prior to this drama, this VOD had like 50K views, maybe 60K views at most, under 100K for sure. In less than 48 hours, it had reached over 800,000 views. And as you might expect, most of the top comments, actually no, you know what, all of them are referencing her being railed. There were multiple comments describing in very painful detail what was happening during every suspicious event. I mean, this guy right here would just admit it himself. He spent 6 hours watching.
Oh my God. Yo.
Everyone making these timestamps would claim that she was getting railed for over 2 hours on stream. So look, at this point, it's pointless to keep talking about this. You have to listen to it yourself to make up your own opinion. So let's do this. I'm going to increase the volume during editing on these clips so that way you can tell what's going on, even if you're on speaker.
Holy shit.
Because the people claiming she was getting railed were also claiming that they could hear clapping in the background. All right, so it's up to you to decide. Let's actually start with the first clip that went viral here. It's 2 minutes long, and this really was the
Oh my God, I want to.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is patient 0. Watch for yourself.
Of course. Of course. Yes. I have bad news, Evans. Yarrow says that was a problem with the proposed power source, so the orbital probe cannon won't be asked. Wow, I cannot fucking read, dude. Dude, I was like actually like grade 1 to like reading, dude. Oh my God, dude.
Wow, what is that?
Oh my God. I just need to like calm
She
down.
even, her breath.
Now.
God, whoa.
My my. This is so good. Read slower. You just gotta just lock in, dude. Okay, sorry.
Oh my
I'm
God.
pulling my locomotive limb here, Cassava.
Her shit is not.
more American, sorry. I wish I were, my friend, but no. They aren't certain that they can fix the problem, so the orbital probe cannon is on an indefinite hiatus. Whoa! I suddenly can read really properly. What the fuck? Help Private and Mallow. They
What
turn
the-
the cannon. My spouse and I will remain from the construction yard from now. Update. Mallow and I will join you and Dad's Private left to. I can't. Private left to visit her friends. She fears Idea may feel responsible. What the f does that mean? What does that even mean?
Whoa. Her model's just jiggling.
Better-
It really is
Better
jiggling
the
and.
last of its cannon components. Soon, relatively speaking, we'll know the eye's precise location. Wait, they found the eye!
All right, so this was the clip with 10 million views. What were you supposed to look out for? Well, according to
The-
people
the jiggle.
who was getting railed here, it was about her over-the-top reactions. It was about her constantly wiggling back and forth. It was about her behavior in general.
Yes.
So the person that
Oh, boy.
said this clip makes it far more obvious. WTF, LMAO, also garnering 5 million views. I'll let you
Holy shit.
decide for yourself.
We'll be ignoring that setting. Oh, I can posit with nearly 100% certainty our threats have accounted for our nature, so I suggest we do. Giving the orbital probe cannon all the power it structurally would stand creates the greatest chance of finding the eye of the universe. Yes, the probe must travel as fast as it can and as far as it can. I see.
Yo! I cannot for the life of me believe what I'm actually hearing. This is not conclusive, but this is getting suspicious. This is absolutely getting suspicious. Holy shit.
So again, same argument here. Her behavior, the way she's talking, the way she's moving. These 2 clips were enough for these people to conclude that she was being hyped. Now I'm going to use some of the top comments on this video of people who genuinely believe that she got railed so that you can determine whether what they're saying is real or not. One top comment would say, bro, the clap, crying emoji. So let's take a look at that.
Oh, I can posit with nearly 100%.
Right, so that clap
Yo! Holy shit. I heard it too.
right there was deemed suspicious. Another top comment would say she tried to play that off, linking another timestamp. Let's check it out.
I need to keep on site everything that's already still here.
Another top
What?
comment here, she is really taking it here, bro, linking.
Oh,
Time-
yo.
Maybe read more than half of the instructions. Okay, listen.
Actually, other than timestamps, it's also most replayed. Oh my God, this VOD has been watched so many times. Around 112. It's the most replayed
Yo.
video, so we can check that out too. It's her with her tongue out.
Oh my.
Dude, I need to stop sticking my tongue out when I'm focusing. It's really embarrassing.
Oh my. And then her body's jiggling again. Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me. There's something very hella suspicious about this. Shit. What is. Oh no. Deme. This is clearly suspicious.
And I don't know how to fuck this up.
All right, so I guess it's mostly about the tongue here. And the rest of this most replayed part is the clips that we already saw, the ones that got 10 million views and 5 million views. I guess, okay, the last thing I'll show you is something from this diabolical codex of timestamps in which this person highlights that Deme was being, well, choked.
Why is everything going bad?
I also saw a post on Twitter saying that this was proof that she liked to be choked during, you know what. But I'll leave that up to you. Was she actually going through that, or was this nothing more than a bit and a joke? And I'd say the last notable clip here is someone on Twitter claiming that she is grabbing his shit on stream, also garnering around 5 million views. Okay, again, up to you to decide.
Boom.
Oh my God. Okay. If you are a content creator and you got your own secrets, fine. That's for you. That is absolutely for you. But if you are going to start preaching against those types of acts and then preach things that are considered supposedly to force safer work media while you're also famous, be ready for others to check if you are sincere, because this is proof that there is something wrong with what you're thinking. Now, I am not sure if this is conclusive. I am not sure if this is considered conclusive. But if it ends up being conclusive, heads are absolutely going to roll. Deme, I hope there are things that can help you back up everything against what people are saying about you, because this may not be conclusive, but the suspicious timings of everything that's actually happened and what people have saw from this absolutely very stream, from this very actual stream, it is never a good look.
And with that, you are all caught up to the clips where people were claiming that she was being railed. Now, of course, while this did go viral and led to millions of people believing it, there were still some people that disagreed, right? That offered counter arguments. Like, for example, this person would show this clip saying that, yes, this clip where she acted kind of sus was missing context because this is what happened prior. This is referencing the clip that got 10 million views.
The thought of concluding our elders curious and challenging research increases my heart's temperature in my life. God, dude, am I reading some fucking, e-sex? What the is going on?
Regardless, though, blown up beyond anyone's wild.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised that Chibi Reviewers genuinely believe. Oh boy, damn it. Oh man, and then she actually just makes a point that it might be a Chibi viewer every time who's actually checking that actual stream. Oh boy.
This dreams, but instead of addressing this on Twitter, Deme would actually take the decision to address it in her Discord, straight to her community. She would post an announcement saying, "I'm not really surprised that Chibi viewers genuinely believe I had sex on stream because they probably never heard a woman talk to them IRL. Nikita, her boyfriend, was literally streaming at the same time. They're literally trying to make themselves have a POV. You can't make this shit up. They can't defend themselves with the points I've said, so they're doing a character smear campaign. Also, this was the time when we can hear each other during stream because he was in the bathroom. So to her, this was ridiculous. The guy was in the bathroom. She would never get railed on stream, and this was nothing more than an attempt to disparage her character. However, some people caught wind of that Discord announcement and actually decided to try and debunk what she was saying. This person right here would say, I believe Deme is lying about the date of her Outer Wilds stream. She claimed it was August 10th, but during her stream, she opens Instagram and you can see the date on her desktop. It's August 12th. She was streaming on August 10th when she was playing Battlefield 6. You can see the date on her desktop again. Her boyfriend was streaming on August 10th as she claimed. You can see his desktop time too. So why does the description on her VOD say the Outer Wilds stream took place on August 10th and not August 12th? August 12th being the same day her boyfriend has no stream VODs uploaded. I think it's because she's lying and needs an alibi for her boyfriend. This doesn't prove she did anything dirty on her Outer Wilds stream, but I believe it does prove she's changed the date of the stream in her description, which is pretty sus in my opinion. Does anyone have another explanation? I'll happily correct myself if so. So now the detectives were on the case, but here's the deal. Deme's Discord post trying to explain to her community what's going on would somehow backfire. Because now the narrative went from, oh, she was being piped by her own boyfriend live on stream, to the new narrative, which is, oh, she says her boyfriend was streaming at the same time?
Oh my God? What?
Well, that means she was being piped by someone else. She's cheating on him and her boyfriend is a... Yes, this...
What the fuck? No. No way. No way. Infidelity is what? No. No, this is a stretch. Okay, now this is becoming a stretch. What the fuck is going on?
Somehow still managed to escalate to another level. The way these people would reach this conclusion is by linking the VOD of the boyfriend as Deme was streaming at the same time. They'd claimed that while her boyfriend was streaming the game Counter-Strike, Deme was being piped by another guy on the opposite room because she was screaming in the background. Watch it for yourself.
Guys, Deme is screaming in the other room, it threw me off, man. Okay, that's my reason behind that, okay?
Look, the same person who tried to debunk.
Yeah, even I'm considering now that it's a bit ridiculous. Now, I think the entire thing is getting ridiculous. Holy shit, dude. It is getting ridiculous. What?
his behavior in her Outer Wild stream by adding more context, would again pop in with a post with over 5 million views saying that these allegations were incorrect. He had matched the time codes of both the boyfriend stream and Deme stream and concluded that her screams had nothing to do with getting piped. You see the clip we just watched, he'd argued that at the same time this was happening, this is what was happening on Deme's stream.
It's actually from before, right? They're just, I don't think, the only thing that can kill me is...
Yep.
I can't do this.
Yep. She got scared there.
Now, one of the top critics of this user would be someone saying, dude, you are cutting the nearly 2 hours of video where she bounces around and moans. It's a 2 hour long video and you just nitpick the parts where she looks less suspicious and then edits to make her look innocent. And while yes, this post of debunking those claims would get over 5 million views and would get people agreeing with it, it would of course still get backlash. Just like everything we've seen, honestly, so far. With this person calling Deme fans
a good thing the worst parts of this are being debunked
on stream. Manager Jojo, the same guy who was trying to debunk these claims, would even go as far as show proof that these two VODs actually line up by showing his editing software, because some were claiming that he was using the wrong VOD and that he was a liar. By this point, this was really all over the place. Depending on your interest on Twitter, it could have literally just taken over your entire feed. And it was really featuring every single type of personality at this point. You had detectives, you had shit posters, you had normies who had no idea what was going on that were just interested in the idea of a VTuber getting railed on stream. As I said, this had been trending on Twitter for multiple days, claiming that there were over 250,000 posts made just talking about it. It would become a global phenomenon, spreading as far as Indonesia, the entire Spanish-speaking community,
oh my God,
even China. Okay, do you know how many
it's got to
China or Japan? I apologize in advance for revealing to you this information, but this Japanese person would claim that they love Deme, the idea of a VTuber getting piped on stream is really hot, and would then proceed to spill their mayonnaise over this image of her. Okay,
oh my God.
Explain this in more detail. All right, he would just empty his mayonnaise bottle on this image of her VTuber model. This had escalated to the most ridiculous level.
You threw your own mayonnaise
I'm here to
content.
tell you that it somehow escalated further and got worse. So by June 16th, barely just a few days after this had began, Chibi would make a tweet saying, I feel this is important to say. If Deme actually offered me a sincere apology, I'd accept it on the spot. I believe in forgiveness and goodwill. However, apologies are hard nowadays because of pride and ego usually gets in the way, especially if you're a content creator. So again, as I said earlier, to Chibi, he was the real victim here and Deme was the aggressor. If she had simply just apologized, then none of this would have happened. He would also comment on all these viral clips of that Outer World stream, saying, when it's multiple examples of her getting railed, it's no longer just an act. We don't have complete definitive proof, but it is damning. Now, of course, this would lead to some people saying we don't have complete definitive proof, so it's fine to call Chibi a pedophile then. Just the usual back and forth that you find on this website, but you get the point. To Chibi, she was 100% being piped on stream, and it further showed just how bad her character truly was. But this
To Chibi. Oh, well, what if they're not true, though?
wasn't about her brand or VTuber model anymore, because now this would escalate further by including the way she looked IRL. Yes, this image shows Deme in real life. A Twitter user would make a now deleted post. I'll explain why it's deleted, but they would make a post attaching this image and calling Deme a whale, right? Attacking how she looks, body shaming, etc. Now, what would happen next was unexpected, I think, to many, especially the poster. Asmongold would come in, reply to this post, and say, only a fool, I'm pretty sure I cannot say that word on YouTube, only a fool would post a photo like this of another girl in an attempt to shame her. For many, this is an A or even S tier body type. Only jealous girls with eating disorders wouldn't understand that. She carries less fat in her face than you do. Think about that. Asmon would say this because other than the picture of her body, it would also include this image of Deme, her actual face. Asmon would get almost 1 million views, and he would get a lot of hate for it. His own community was fairly outraged over the fact that just 2 months ago, he had made a video titled Fat Acceptance Has Gone Too Far.
And I don't entirely agree with everything that Asmongold says, because not everything about Asmongold really lands with me, especially during the ice raids. Okay, but there's that I can actually just agree in regards to gaming innovation when it comes to gaming development and that stuff like that. Some social issues, yes, sure, but the reason why I stopped watching is seriously just because the empathy he has with people who are just trying to protect who's actually next to them. They got neighbors who are immigrants getting taken away just because immigrants didn't have the right papers with them. Okay, neighbors who actually help them in their lives and shit like that. It's just there are things that I just don't like when it comes to Asmongold. Basically, he has no empathy. And even if he is successful, all I can actually see him now is he's still the richest poor guy there is ever to exist as a streamer, as that type of streamer.
He was very directly defending someone that they thought was fat, but in his opinion was an S-tier body. But here's the thing. The person who had initially posted this, right, calling her a whale and getting hundreds of thousands of views, maybe even more than 1 million, was expecting Asmon to maybe react to this and agree with them on stream. When he would come in and disagree, though, the original poster would without exaggeration, have a meltdown. They'd say, I mean, you call people fat all the time, bro. Let's not play the hypocrisy game. Also, photos were already publicly available. Let's not play this game, bub. Again, sit this one out. And they would continue to say, says male. So you insulted women for no reason in your response, and yes, I'll insult the whale. Have a good day, bro. Keep up the good political streams. I'll be tuning in. They'll then make another post saying, also, I am a man, bro. So you trying to play hero was just saying, man, want to read a profile before you jump in like a simp and talk lol. They would then make another reply saying, lol, this thread got some angry crybaby simps in here, lol. I mean, please continue. Here we go with another reply. Funny how literally minus a select few simps, the majority agrees with me.
Oh my God.
Oh my guy, you have been racking those up. The person would then go ahead and tag 3 different content creators, calling them out saying, hey, you guys would love this. You might enjoy this L take from Asmund. Hey, check it out. Come here, look at this. And the last thing they would say is, people are telling me now to block Asmongold and report Mass's account. Yeah, no, I don't do that shit. It is retarded. He has a right to comment even if it is a retarded take. Unlike most people on here, I am not sensitive. He is allowed to roast me as I will him. And yeah, shortly afterwards, this person would go ahead and delete the original post. But the reason why I'm even mentioning it was because the damage had been done. As I said, it would get a substantial amount of views, and now more people were aware of how Deme looked IRL. Most of them probably didn't even know that she had revealed her body.
Twitter is such a very, very toxic place.
To her posts. But don't worry, we're going to be talking about her body too long, because something else was sprout out during this whole radioactive mess. Some people would find old tweets of hers, like back in March 2023, in which she said, I have BPD, which stands for borderline personality disorder. She would say, I'd like to apologize for sometimes, in a way, sabotaging my own growth in Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm not good with change, to be honest, so when chat starts to be different and etc., I kind of freak out mentally, trying my best to be better. Much love. So this person would write an entire post of 12 paragraphs, garnering over 3 million views, attaching this image we just saw, and would essentially say, hey, listen, my sister has BPD, so I can speak on Deme. And in it, he'd argue that much of her behavior that her haters had a problem with was due to this, saying that people with BPD will see the world in black and white, and that they will frequently engage in DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. So at this point, there were many, many narratives being used against Deme that honestly, even I can't keep. But look, regardless of everything, right, whether people were using her IRL appearance, her current relationship with her boyfriend, the fact that she has BPD, honestly, nothing mattered when put against the main thing that people were interested in, which was the narrative of her being piped on stream. So on June 16th, she would finally make a tweet addressing it, and she kept it very short, saying, if I was crazy enough to
you gotta be
at least have an OF to bait engagement skull emoji. Stop forcing your cuck fantasies on others. My ass too fat to move that way.
Well, at least she's not even fucking hiding it. At least she's not even fucking hiding it. Oh my God. This is getting ridiculous, guys. You either side with Deme or you side with Chibi, but at this point, this is just getting ridiculous.
Her millions of views, but it would replies. And I mean, it's really mixed here. Looking at the top replies, one can say that genuinely half of them are siding with her and half of them are going against her, saying, yeah, dude, we have enough proof to deduce that you were actually doing it live on stream. As this was happening, Chibi would tweet this, saying, hold up, is it true she's deleting tweets evidence now? This all could have been avoided if she didn't double and triple down. My mask off ability is stronger than ever. As this was going on, he would do something that he always typically does whenever there's a conflict or drama surrounding him, which is post a screenshot of his stats, saying my stats on Twitter.
Of course, he's going to take advantage of that.
On over 17 million impressions, which also means money since he's monetized on the website. Now, Deme wouldn't post anything for around more than 24 hours since she would make that post about how if she really wanted to get railed on stream, at least she would have an OF account. And then on June 17th, she would decide to make this post saying, I was ready to genuinely take this to the ground because of the idea that why should I ever feel bad being rude to someone who's a piece of shit? But after some reflection, the thought occurred to me, do I really want to go as low as him though? And the answer was no. I said what I said because I personally think that there is no scenario their friend group chooses the side of a fiance that cheats. I can't even fathom friends siding with a cheater. However, would I have brought it up if I knew that he was suicidal because of it? No. I admitted it in the previous tweet, so why didn't I apologize? Because he's this and that, blah, blah, blah. But I thought about it, and that kind of ideology is quite harmful. What was wrong, and I admitted that twice, but I didn't apologize. So after reflection, I am sorry. I'm sorry for bringing up a memory that made someone suicidal. It was a low blow, even if I didn't know, regardless of whether he was intentionally being a piece of shit. I don't want to stoop to his level. I'd rather be better and learn from my mistakes. So this was Deme essentially saying, look, I know what I did. I know I've already said it was wrong, but I didn't apologize. So at this point, I don't want to stoop as low as someone like Chibi. I do want to apologize. I had no idea that he almost left this planet due to this happening to him. So I'm sorry. I'll apologize, even if you were intentionally being a piece of shit. Now, Deme had reached this conclusion, right? She felt this was the right thing to do. There were some people who supported her, but for the most part, the replies were either littered with, this isn't a real apology, you owe Chibi more than that, and why did you apologize? Yeah. Chibi doesn't deserve an apology. Now, shortly before this apology, Chibi would make this tweet saying, keeping it real and personal. I think the reason Deme attacked my personal life like she did was because 95% of the time, people get away with it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You all have seen the tweets people have made about me, so the fact this blew up in the VTuber Deme's face is even a shock to me, and I know it is for her. Every post she makes has a shit ton of likes, but you're hard-pressed to find a single positive comment defending her, and if you do, they are ratioed. Now, I'm not saying she's botting, but I know others can push bots on someone's post. It's not normal for a post to get that many likes, like 99% of the comments totaling hundreds or even thousands disagreeing with the main post. But onto the real point, I legit have weathered so much hatred that truthfully these last few days have been nothing. Nothing compares to the real-life pain I experienced months ago. The worst day is behind me, and I have grown mentally stronger because of it. It's just funny seeing how I can cause a massive crash out on this scale for someone that is more successful than me. Anyways, just my throwaway thoughts on this entire situation was an extremely rare miscalculation that I didn't even expect. So here Chibi was pretty much, I guess, gloating that this had blown up in Deme's face, even though she's more successful than him, while also kind of accusing her of botting, or at least her community of botting, saying that her posts get way too many likes compared to how many people are willing to defend her in the posts. What do you think? Are they bots, or are they simply employed? Up to you to decide. Upon seeing the apology, Chibi would make this tweet saying, after days of doubling down, Deme has finally decided to apologize to me at the end of her latest tweet. Before she did that, however, she made sure to call me a piece of shit, along with a few other things, despite saying she wants to blow. Progress, I guess. So to Chibi, yeah, she did apologize, but it wasn't really an actual real apology, but hey, at least it's progress. A few hours later, he would make another tweet saying, despite VTuber Deme offering me an apology that called me a piece of shit and she will never stoop low, Deme went on to posting this on her official Discord saying the apology was never intended for me. However, prior to the Discord messages, she privately DM'd me on Twitter apologizing. So this means her private apology to me in DMs wasn't sincere at all, which is why I am showing it.
Oh.
Screenshot of what Deme said in the Discord. I'm going to read it out. She said,
she doesn't understand that her own Discord is public. Jeez, if they're making their community hubs so public, of course it would be seen by others. Please. Jeez.
Seeing a lot of messages here in the Discord. Please, crying emoji. It was never for them. They would have never been any of my viewers. Look at any of their profiles and realize that I angered the group of people that I would have banned in my chat anyway, literally. I did this apology not only for me, but for my community to be able to move on. I personally think I can genuinely think someone else is a piece of shit while realizing I'm in the wrong for doing something too. And then he would show the image of her sending him a DM saying, Chibi, genuinely my bad for making you remember something that traumatized you. I had no idea when I made that first message. So look, objectively speaking, right? Chibi is wrong here. He'd say Deme went on to posting this on her official Discord saying the apology was never intended for me. I'm pretty sure he's referencing the first paragraph here, her saying it was never for them. I'm pretty sure here she was saying that this apology wasn't for anyone who was trying to slander her name, anyone who was saying that she was getting railed, anyone that was calling her a hypocrite. She would specifically say, look at any of their profiles and realize that I angered the group of people that I would have banned in my chat anyway, literally. Maybe Chibi's referencing her last sentence. I did this apology not only for me, but for my community to be able to move on. But then she would specify, I personally think I can genuinely think someone else is a piece of shit. Here she's referencing Chibi while realizing I'm in the wrong for doing something too. Someone would reply to Chibi's post saying, I still wouldn't trust it, but that's me. And then Chibi would say, she straight up admitted it wasn't an apology to me with these posts, so there's nothing to trust. Again, I would think that most people looking at this wouldn't really understand it the same way, but regardless of whether she actually meant it towards him or not, Chibi was not convinced. He was not ready to let this die down. On June 18th, he would make a post saying, VTuber Deme has apologized to me, but do I accept it or deny it? Linking a video and an image of Demi's model on the ukulele apology. At this point, though, people had already somewhat started to move on from this, but to the people who were still invested, there were many mixed opinions. She didn't mean this. She was forced to make this apology, or she actually meant it, or even if she didn't mean it, just move on already and get to something else. In this video of his, he would reiterate what he's already said on Twitter. The fact that this wasn't a real apology, the fact that her Discord message disproved what she was saying to him in DMs, while giving a full 17-minute recap of what happened so far, and of course referencing the whole idea of her getting railed on stream. Watch.
Trying to retweet NSFW of her model, despite saying she doesn't want it. But even prior to this, she literally has these streams where she's making very suggestive and adult-like sounds. And, let's just go on a limb here and humor the fact of what some people are, that Deme, wasn't getting, stuff like that in the live stream. Okay. The sounds, the way it is presented is very suggestive. Now, I'm gonna say, I don't care if a VTuber or anyone wants to do that. What I am saying is that she had the audacity to do stuff like that within a stream, even if nothing was happening, and then goes on to do stuff like this. It's just like, you know what you're doing. It feels very performative, it feels very hypocritical, and virtue signaling.
So yeah, Chibi was not backing down from this.
Yeah.
Still using the same talking points.
Goddamn, Chibi's just not.
Video.
Yep.
Also insisting that other than the Discord message making it sound disingenuous, she couldn't even say the word sorry in DMs. She could only say, my bad. Again, proving to him that this wasn't real. He would then end his video by saying this.
That's content creation. The internet will not let you forget. So even if she was to me, people, that wouldn't be enough for them. Even if it was enough for me, it wouldn't be enough for them. But I will say, if she genuinely does want to apologize, I will accept an actual apology instead of these backhanded, back and forth things going on, trying to label me a piece of shit just for being weird. It's just, all this started from me calling you a virtue signaler. I would like to remind that. So
for Chibi, the narrative had not changed here. He was the victim, she was his aggressor, but if she's still willing to make a sincere apology to him, he's willing to forgive her. What do you think of this? Is he right here, or is he moving the goalpost to the point where Deme can never win? Now, speaking of Deme, it seems like she genuinely moved on from this and isn't interested in pursuing it further. On June 18th, the same day Chibi would post his video, she would tweet out, I have never had this much compliments with how I look before. I've always been insecure with being a bigger girl and struggled to lose weight because of EDS and PMOS. Maybe I'll send an update photo of my progress since a lot of people are liking old tweets. This would get a lot of attention, and yet again, the replies would be very mixed. On one hand, they're not willing to let her forget what she did to Chibi unless she apologizes, and on the other, well, they were just being gooners.
God damn it.
Congratulations, you're all caught up on this absolute radioactive mess. Here's hoping it doesn't progress further. All right, so final thoughts. If I had to compare this to something, I would compare it to World War I. History books tell you that World War I started because Austria's Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. But after 4 years of one of the most brutal wars in human history, after millions dead, do you think anyone in 1918 thinking about the war was like, oh yeah, I remember how it started? No, it had escalated to something so crazy that it didn't really matter how it started. And that's the same exact thing here. How did this thing start? Who cares? This had blown up past the stratosphere with allegations against Deme that she was being railed on stream. This was never about what she said to Chibi or her not being okay with NSFW art of her that involved her getting railed. Look, a few years ago, this would have been petty D-tier level drama, but if you've noticed, especially since the beginning of this year, dramas, no matter how small, seem to be dragged out and blown up way beyond proportion to the point where it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. When it comes to drama, it tends to one subject tends to overlap over the other, and it turns to a hot burning mess. To the point that it doesn't become recognizable anymore because the subject always changes. Unfortunately, when the subject always changes, it doesn't just really help.
I don't think it's purely just because people have a thirst for drama these days more than usual, but I also think it's due to this logic with this person right here quote tweeting the clip where allegedly Deme got railed, saying, "I'm choosing to believe that Deme is an exhibitionist and got cracked on stream, not because it's true, but because it's funny. Sometimes believing in something is just way funnier than not believing in it." And I'd say if I really had to explain why this blew up to the point where it did, it's because of this logic. And if you ever
God,
you should never download Twitter if you don't have it on your phone, then I think this video served its purpose in that regard. So yeah, thank you so much for watching until the end. I appreciate it so much. I'm very curious to hear what you think about this fest in the comments. On June 19th, GamerSubs is having a crazy...
Yep, this is gonna be the end of the video, and I'm just gonna really say it. What's the end? What is the end of this? Oh my God, this. My son told me to download World Cup. What is a VTuber, and why is she getting railed? What the fuck is this? So basically, what have we learned? Well, what I've learned is 1, she might not have gotten railed on stream. 2, she should have apologized when she actually sent a personal attack on his ass, knowing it would actually get messy because she has a big fan base, he has a fan base, but his fan base is unhinged, and they can actually show things that have a certain angle just to get back at Deme for actually trying to personally hurt someone like him. Someone who was very angry at those who hate him just because he said stances that they don't like. I don't follow that guy, but I'm not following Deme either, just because it's just crazy. To the point that even the entire thing has become uncontrollable, to the point that I don't want to even follow her content anymore. And I've said it once and I'm going to say it again. I'm no longer subscribed to her, okay? Deme can go off on her own as I like to. I just don't want to see any of her content again. Maybe I can actually see it because there are other VTubers collabing with her, but her solo, no, it's just not happening. You don't tell someone a personal attack if you're doing a discussion. I really said it before. Bad sport. If you're doing a civil discussion, don't be petty. You can't be petty at a time like that. The least you could do is find another subject that you can reply with instead of just reminding the guy of the horrible things that have actually happened to his life as an actual jab to his career. Let me tell you, Deme, you did not have the best times yourself. And my God, it's a good thing. It's actually a good thing that this all came up because unfortunately, I'm still going to call you a hypocrite for twice. Unfortunately, I will still call you a hypocrite. Now I know, I guess.